One of the biggest reasons beginners struggle with sourdough is because they haven't been taught how to properly feed their sourdough starter. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I feed my starter. I'll go over ratios, frequency, and show you what a healthy starter looks like so that you can master feeding your sourdough with confidence. First, let's talk about why feeding matters. Your starter is a host of natural yeasts and bacteria that feed off of the proteins found in flour. If you don't feed it often enough, it will become very acidic and weak. If you feed it too often, it will become diluted and less effective. So, we want to find just the right frequency for your sourdough starter. Everyone's starter is different and will have different needs, so it will take time to learn your own starter. But once you understand the signs that it's giving you, you'll be able to take care of it much better. Now, let's talk about ratios. The most common ratio to feed your sourdough starter is 1 to 1 to 1. This just means equal parts starter, flour, and water. I personally prefer this ratio when I'm feeding my starter to bake with. With my mature starter, it will peak at around 4 hours in my kitchen, which usually hangs out around between 72 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. So, I'm going to get my unfed starter, a clean jar, some bread flour, although all-purpose flour will work as well, and room temperature water. A lot of people will recommend filtered water to have better control over the level of chlorination. If you know your water is very chlorinated, you can use filtered water. However, I have had great luck with using good old tap water. I also really like these silicone spatulas because they are small, flat, and you can scrape down the sides of the jar really well with them. I'll have these linked in the description under my favorite sourdough tools. Now we're gonna measure and mix. I'm pouring 100 grams of unfed sourdough starter, 100 grams of bread flour, and 100 grams of room temperature tap water into the jar and mixing this all together. Once I scrape the sides down, I look at where the starter comes up to on the side of the jar. For educational purposes, I'm going to use a rubber band to mark where it started, and I'd encourage any beginners out there to do that as well so you can really see how much your starter is rising. Now, the length of time it will take for your starter to peak will depend on the health of your starter. If it's young or weak, it may take 6 to 8 hours, but a healthy, mature starter should be right around 4 hours with a 1 to 1 to 1 ratio. In the description, I'm going to list some other ratios and why or when you might use those. I'll also have some information on feeding depending on where you're storing your starter, such as in the fridge or on the counter, and some suggestions on which method might be best for you. So, how do you know when your starter has peaked? Well, it's no longer domed on the top, it has flattened. It has stopped growing and maybe it's even started to fall just slightly. And you have bubbles all throughout your starter from the bottom all the way to the top. This is how you know it's ready to use in a recipe. And it's typically double the size it was from where you put your rubber band on. Sourdough can feel really overwhelming at first, but once you begin to understand your starter, the pieces start to fall in place. Down in the description, I have some free downloads available for you, including my classic sourdough recipe, which is in my 5 staple recipes download. And I'll link a video for a walkthrough on that. Be sure to check out my Sourdough 101 playlist, where I walk you through each step of making your sourdough bread so that you can understand the dynamics of it all. And stay tuned for my next video, which is my exact beginner sourdough schedule to help you nail down a timeline for your sourdough. Because everyone deserves to be able to make their own fresh bread, and I'm going to help you master each step along the way. So hit the subscribe button, grab a cup of coffee, and get comfy. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.